What's up everyone, Howler here, and today marks the debut of a brand new series on our channel, VGC Comedy. The goal for this series is not at all to try to help you to become a better VGC player. It is purely for entertainment and to see some utterly ridiculous strategies that you would never otherwise see. My plan for the series going forward is to put up about 2 episodes per season. The first episode of each season will be featuring like one of the most utterly ridiculous strategies that I've come up with, using that to get from Pokeball into Ultra Ball, or maybe a little higher depending on how we're doing. And then the second team of the season will be to try to get from Ultra Ball into Master Ball. This first team I'm going to show you today is the only team that I was able to use to get footage with in Season 1 of Pokemon Champions. So I'll be showing you 2 really strange teams right off the bat, and then a third that's I used a lot actually in Season 1 off screen that I had a little bit of success with but couldn't quite get into Master Ball with. So, the first team that I'm using for VGC Comedy is going to be using Pokemon that start with the letters of my name, Howler, as you can see on the left side of your screen. What's more is I was only allowed to use Pokemon that I could import directly from Pokemon Sword, as I don't have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I haven't played Legends Arceus yet. I am in the process of playing it, but I'm not transferring over any Pokemon from that game for this team specifically. In other words, I'm challenging myself to build a cohesive team using only 1 Pokemon from the H column, 1 from the O column, 1 from the W column, and so on. The Pokemon labeled in blue are Mega Evolution possibilities, and then Lucario is labeled in yellow because it has 2 Mega Evolution possibilities, although only one of them are in the game at the moment. Now, if you've been staring at this list for a while, perhaps you can guess where I'm going to go with this team, but I will leave that up to you, and we'll start explaining the thought process of how this team came together. The first Pokemon I absolutely knew I wanted to use was Mega HOWL-uch-ER. Of course, it has the No Guard ability, which it can pass on to any Pokemon it likes with the move Entrainment. So we're definitely going to try to have some fun with that. Otherwise, we've built this thing max attack, max speed, adamant, with Brave Bird in close combat, our last move being Protect. I'm not going to put up the full spreads for every Pokemon. I'll just kind of explain as we go, and you will see some of the moves as they come out in the battles that I'll intersperse between. The next Pokemon on the team, well, we didn't have much of a choice. It's Oranguru, because it's the only Pokemon other than Orthworm that starts with the letter O, and Orthworm is a Scarlet and Violet Pokemon, which I don't have access to since I don't have the game. That means I'm going to have to try to lean into some Trick Room and Struck shenanigans. I have Psychic for an attacking move, and also Skill Swap, because I thought it would be funny to have HOWL-uch-ER and Oranguru next to each other, so that HOWL-uch-ER could use Instruct on Oranguru, and then maybe Oranguru could use Skill Swap onto another partner Pokemon later to give it the No Guard ability. But as you will see in the battles that I will show you, that never actually came into play. For the next slot on our team, we had a choice between Whimsicott and Weavile. And Whimsicott is pretty common in VGC with its Prankster Tailwind and Encore shenanigans, and so I really wanted to use Weavile, especially because I know immediately that one popular Pokemon that HOWL-uch-ER really doesn't want to see is Mega Frostlass, which outspeeds Mega HOWL-uch-ER and hits it super effectively with Blizzards. So Weavile matches up really nicely into that, being able to outspeed the Frostlass and hit it hard with a Night Slash. We're using Night Slash as our dark move of choice with the item Scope Lens. So because Night Slash actually has a heightened crit ratio, So coupled with scope lens, we have a 50% chance to crit our opponent with our Night Slashes, which is nice because we can crit through stuff like Aurora Veil. It's also doing more damage to Mega Frostblast anyway than knockoff because we're not knocking off its Mega Stone. And if stuff like Incineroar wants to pivot in and intimidate our Weavile, we still have a 50% chance of basically ignoring that intimidate with our Night Slashes. Moving on now, I didn't really love a lot of my options for the L slot on this team, so I ended up going with another fighting type Mega Evolution in Mega Lucario that I can partner with Weavile in the Hail matchup. Before Lucario Mega Evolves, it gets the ability Justified, so if I target my own Lucario with Weavile's Beat Up, I can immediately give myself a +4 boost in attack, and then hit something with the Drain Punch to recover all of the damage that I did to myself with Beat Up, and hopefully get a KO on that slot. I can then Mega Evolve and go for Adaptability Boosted Bullet Punches that can do lots of damage regardless of whether the opponent has Trick Room or Tailwind up. And my last move is Thunder Punch, so I can hit stuff like Pelipper and Basculegion and Primarina for super effective damage. This Lucario might be one of the bulkiest Lucarios you'll ever see on the VGC doubles ladder. I've built this with basically max HP and just enough speed for Excadrill outside of Sand, so hopefully this Mega Lucario will be taking a lot more hits than you would expect it to. Basically, Mega HOWL-uch-ER is the faster, more immediate offensive output option for this team, and then Lucario is built as a bulkier mon that can come out in the matchups that I don't necessarily love HOWL-uch-ER in. So, before I get to showing you the last two Pokemon in this team, I want to show you some battles featuring Weavile and Lucario. As we start the battles now, I just want to point out quickly that I do have some of these matches for VGC Comedy on my Twitch channel at PlatinumHowler14, so you may hear my voice at some points in these replays. Just try to ignore those.
Love to see
you can hear me say there, "No crits!" And you can see every time that I click beat up, every time that Weavile doesn't crit his own teammate, so that's pretty funny. But on that first turn in this Hail matchup, the opposing Weavile faked out my Lucario, so I didn't get an attack off on the first turn, but I did get up to +4 attack thanks to my Weavile. And because I have built my Lucario so bulky, I'm able to take all of the hits that I need to from both opposing Pokemon in the Hail matchup, and then get the Drain Punch off to recover a lot of HP and still be in a good position to take hits from whatever's coming in. And the next Pokemon to come in is the Mega Frostblast, because this team was actually Mono Ice, and it dies through Aurora Veil and through its Snow defense boost. This is another battle where Lucario's electric coverage will come in handy. Azumarill is not something that I can hit very hard otherwise, so we are going to boost up our attack to +4 once again, and then just get a KO on the Azumarill with a Thunder Punch in our non-Mega form, which is really nice. And King Gambit, the other Pokemon on their side, thankfully doesn't threaten our Lucario too much. I really don't care if the opposing Pokemon threaten Weavile. I'm perfectly happy to sack Weavile after it boosts up my Lucario. But instead they decide to actually give my Lucario another boost. So we're at +5 now. We'll be able to fire off the Drain Punch into the King Gambit this turn. After our Weavile goes for a triple axle into Pikachu, the first hit gets a crit, which means that the otherwise 3-hit KO on the triple axle becomes a 2-hit KO, which is cool, because with our scope plans, it even works well with the triple axle, because each individual hit has an increased chance to crit. I think it's only 1 in 8 chance to crit, but still, if we can get a crit on one of the hits, then it could potentially remove the possibility of us missing one of the triple axle hits. Like if we get a crit on one of the first two and we get a KO in 2 hits instead of 3. Like, maybe we could have missed the 3rd hit and not even got that KO. I'm sure Night Slash could have done the job on the Pikachu, but I went for the triple axle just in case it was sashed. And then they're going to bring in the Gyarados to get blown up by a Thunder Punch. In this next battle, I lead Weavile Lucario into a team with a Scizor that I'm really afraid of. I don't have any fire coverage on this team, so I figured my best way of beating the Scizor would be to just boost up my Lucario and get huge damage on it with the Drain Punch. Scizor is in the back here, but the Tyranitar on lead is going to want to switch out. It's very afraid of my Lucario. And even before I Mega Evolve, I'm still going to deal almost 50%. It will be under 50% after the Sandstorm chip. And I get back to full HP from that Drain Punch. Now this Poltegeist I'm a little bit afraid of because it did go for a Shell Smash, and I'm worried about Protects on their side.
I mean, I could have targeted,
as you might hear me say here coming up. But, tip for you, don't try reading Protects and being a master predictor when you're playing on the lower ladder. You just really don't know what to expect. So I thought they might protect the Poltegeist here and Moonblast with the Primarina into something. But they don't. I just Bullet Punch and get the KO, which was pretty satisfying. It's nice to have a really strong attack with the Mega Lucario that doesn't care what the opponent's speed stats are. We'll get a little bit of chip off into the Primarina with the Night Slash, and I'm, again, like, more than happy that they chose to KO the Weavile. I will bring in my Oranguru in the back and just be chilling. Scizor is going to come in now. Again, I am trying to think which one will protect, but then I realize I can just get a KO into Primarina with the Oranguru. So I am kind of maybe making this... My initial thought process is making this play more complicated than it need to be. I thought that the Scizor might Mega Evolve and have a slight chance of letting the hit from Mega Lucario, but it doesn't. It's actually a Mega Tyranitar in the back. So yeah, after we get this kill on the Primarina and the Tyranitar comes in, I think you can probably guess how this is going to end, and I'm not really going to bother showing you that. Oranguru usually is the first one to come in after Weavile goes down. It can set Trick Room, and Lucario can still operate in Trick Room thanks to Bullet Punch priority, or it can just deal a finishing blow with its own Psychic. Now, to round out the team, I'm sure you're all still waiting for the Oko Pokemon to pair with Mega HOWL-uch-ER. You know, entrainment, no guard, 100% accurate, one-hit KO moves. Yeah, that's still coming. So I bet you could probably guess the Pokemon that we have in the E slot. Yeah, it's gonna be Emolga. Wait, Emolga? That's definitely not what I was expecting. Yep, we here at VGC Comedy are trying to keep you viewers on your toes. We are using Emolga. I have this cool goal of using every Pokemon in the game at some point to try to get the like Emolga Admirer. I think that's what the title is called for winning 10 games with each Pokemon. So that's what I'd like to try to do, win 10 games with each Pokemon in the game. I'm probably not ever going to achieve that. But I did see this as a good opportunity to give Emolga a try. And by the time I finished my with this team, I did actually end up earning the Emolga Admirer title in Pokemon Champions, which I'm still sporting to this day. Don't worry though, we still have an Oko Pokemon on this team. It's just not Excadrill. It's actually going to be what I think is the star of this team, and that's Rhyperior. While Excadrill has access to both Fissure and Horndrill, Rhyperior only has Horndrill. So we don't have an Oko option into Ghost types, but Horndrill is still going to work into most teams. I also realized that Rhyperior was the better choice to pair with Oranguru in Trick Room. Otherwise, I feared Oranguru would be pretty out of place on this team if I was using something more standard like Excadrill. Anyways, now it's time that I showed you the rest of the battles with this game and how devastating Rhyperior can be with the proper support. Perhaps the best thing that Emolga has going for it is it's one of 3 Pokemon currently available in Champions that has access to the move Speed Swap. And with base 103 speed, once I use Speed Swap on my partner Rhyperior, Rhyperior is actually going to be able to act before opposing Garchomp and Mega Floette, which is pretty cool. Also, you can see here my Rhyperior doesn't even take 50% from a super effective Earthquake. Awesome that Rhyperior has very good natural physical bulk, but I also have the ability Solid Rock, which reduces damage I take from super effective attacks, and you're going to see this come in handy later against some Mega Charizards. And the cool thing as well, also if Emolga is left on the field after it uses Speed Swap, it can then get a slow Volt Switch off, and I can get something in for free without taking any damage, and when I bring Emolga back in again, it will be fast once more. It will have the space 103 speed again. So I'm playing this battle again because this is the Pokeball tier guy against battle against somebody who tried to double protect their Sneasler, and they ended up basically just KOing themselves with Garchomp going for Earthquake, trying to damage my Rhyperior. But again, now that Charizard comes in, my Rhyperior has the speed of an Emolga, so I actually outspeed both Pokemon on the opposing side right now. And I'm gonna go for a Rock Slide to one-hit KO their Charizard, and well, after my HOWL-uch-ER Mega Evolves as well. So there's some awkwardness with the HOWL-uch-ER in that Adamant Max Speed HOWL-uch-ER speed ties with Timid Max Speed Emolga. So ideally they wouldn't be speed tying. The HOWL-uch-ER can move before Emolga. Because then in this situation I could entrainment my Rhyperior, and then a Rhyperior that's as fast as a Garchomp could go for a Horn Drill after it's acquired no guard.
Let's go! We're showing off all the tricks, baby!
In this next battle, the time has finally come for some one-hit KO moves. We don't need speed on Rhyperior for it to put in work in this game, because against certain Pokemon, like Arcanine for example, they just can't do damage into Rhyperior, and even if Rhyperior gets burned, it doesn't care, because Horn Drill's still going to get some one-hit KOs. So we will give Rhyperior the no guard right now, and oh, we get hit by an energy ball, but we're going to live that because we have Rindo Berry on our Rhyperior, and even though we've lost Solid Rock, we're still going to be able to survive that perfectly fine, and I don't even need to go for a Horn Drill actually to KO Glimmora with a Rhyperior, because I can just go for the high horsepower. 5% chance to miss is no longer, it's actually 100% with no guard, and on the next turn Mega HOWL-uch-ER can outspeed the Glimmora, knock it out with a move of its choice, and then we can go for a Horn Drill into the Arcanine. So their Arcanine is going to take out our Mega HOWL-uch-ER, but this is kind of the reverse of the last battle, where we brought in HOWL-uch-ER after leading Emolga and getting our speed swap off. Now if HOWL-uch-ER goes down, we can bring in Emolga with Rhyperior still on the field, and now we can use speed swap, and we still have a 3-2 lead in this game. So something really funny is going to happen when the opponent brings in their last 2 Pokemon. Oh, it's a Sylveon, and there's 2 Sylveons on the field. So obviously one of them is a Hisuian Zoroark. So if I Horn Drill into the wrong Sylveon, I could be in some big trouble. So what I need to do is speed swap my speed swap onto my Rhyperior, make it fast, and we'll go for a Rock Slide. Since we have no guard, we will be guaranteed to hit both opponents. And once we damage both of the opponents, then we will know which one is the Zoroark, so we can go for a Horn Drill into the actual Sylveon. I think if you're paying close enough attention, you might have been able to tell that Zoroark was the first Pokemon to be dropped in on the field in that situation, because if it was the second Pokemon, then it probably wouldn't have anything to disguise itself as, but I wasn't willing to take that chance. They end up picking off our Emolga with a quick attack from this Sylveon, but that's fine because I still have a Rangaroo in the back. This Zoroark has to recharge because it went for Hyper Beam on the first turn, so I'm still going to end up having my Rhyperior on the field for one more turn. And actually, for 2 more turns, if there were 2 more turns, because my expertly EV'd Rhyperior is going to survive a Bitter Malice from this Zoroark on the very next turn, and we knock it out with the high horsepower to win another game. Despite the attack drop from Bitter Malice, we still are able to knock out the Zoroark with a high horsepower. Sure, I could have protected Rhyperior there and gone for Trick Room with the Oranguru, but there's really no need for that when you are in such a commanding position. Just attack with both Pokemon. Keep it simple. So the Rindo Berry on Rhyperior isn't just for any random grass type move like an Energy Ball from Glamora. It is especially teched onto this Rhyperior to beat opposing Mega Charizards. With our Solid Rock ability coupled with the Rindo Berry, we live Solar Beam from any Mega Charizard Y 100% of the time. As you can see here, all of the Charizards that hit us with Solar Beam end up being very unhappy once we survive the hit and OHKO their Charizard.
Whoa, holy Mega
Rock
Crit
Slide.
on Venusaur.
And talk about the Mega Crit there. If only I had Ice Shard on this Weavile instead of the Beat Up, that would be a perfect lead into Charizard Venusaur. Next, we have another example of HOWL-uch-ER and Rhyperior being a good lead, especially into an obvious Trick Room team. So, for example, if they were to lead a Farigiraf or an Oranguru in this case, that obviously wants to set up Trick Room on the first turn, you can just immediately give Rhyperior the No Guard and go for the Horn Drill one-hit KO into the Trick Room setter to deny them their Trick Room. Also, it helps that their partner Pokemon in this case, being a Tyrantrum, physical attacker, can't deal too much damage into Rhyperior, so we're still at a pretty good amount of health right now. They bring in their Sinistra after the Oranguru goes down, and another great thing about Mega HOWL-uch-ER, it can just destroy Sinistras with super powerful Brave Birds. That's why I like the Adamant Max Attack variant here. They can have our Mega HOWL-uch-ER now. It more than did its job. Gave Rhyperior the No Guard and OHKO to HOWL-uch-ER. And, well, that Tyrantrum can just die now, except, well, it's actually a Focus Sash Tyrantrum, which you don't see every day. Now that HOWL-uch-ER is down, I can bring Weavile in the back for some Fake Out support. I have a faster Fake Out than their Mega Kangaskhan, so I can Fake Out into whatever I like, and I'm just going to Fake Out into the Tyrantrum to get that extra 1% damage off to remove it from the field. And they decide to, well, the Tyrantrum's going to protect, so it's going to hang around, but that doesn't make a difference because they decide to Fake Out into my Weavile instead of the No Guard Horn Drill Pokemon on the field that can just one-hit KO their Kangaskhan, which I thought was just unthinkable. And down goes the Kangaskhan. All they have left is a 1% Tyrantrum with which we can finish off quite easily. So up till now, we've seen Rhyperior operate as fast as a Garchomp. We've seen it just take advantage of its natural bulk and not need any speed control to tear through teams. Now, for the rest of the video, we're going to see it operate in Trick Room, because Oranguru plus Rhyperior is a really nasty combination. Any Trick Room Pokemon paired with Oranguru that has Rock Slide is going to be a pain in the ass to fight, because we essentially have 2 chances to flinch opponents that we hit with Rock Slide. We have 30% chances put together basically combines to a 50% chance.
Yeah.
And with this team, oftentimes we are going to be playing for those flinches and hoping we hit the Rock Slides. So here's a battle that we're going to start partway through, and we can see another way that Emolga can support Rhyperior by going for Eerie Impulse to drastically reduce the damage output from strong special type attackers that would otherwise be a lot more threatening for Rhyperior. See, the combination of Hyper Voice and Darkest Lariat from their end doesn't even do half of our HP. So now with Rock Slide up, we're just hoping to hit both Pokemon, but as you can see, the Incineroar does dodge the Rock Slide here, which is basically turns this game into a loss for us, because we now only have a 30% chance to flinch the Incineroar instead of a 50% chance. If we had, and you can see by how much damage that did, if we landed both of the Rock Slides on the Incineroar would just be dead. It wouldn't get a parting shot off to reduce our Rhyperior's damage output, and it wouldn't be able to come back in again later for fake out support. Luckily though, we do get the 50% flinch on the Gardevoir, but the Sinnoh is going to come in, restore its health. My Rhyperior is not as powerful now, so I'm going to need 2 more Rock Slides to KO that Gardevoir. But something interesting will happen in this battle where this Gardevoir actually ends up staying on the field until almost the end of the game, because here it goes for Protect. Gardevoir, because it stays on the field, stays at -2 special attack, which actually gives us a small window of opportunity to come back here. So basically the only thing we can hope to do at this point is just fish for some crits and flinches with Rock Slide against the Sinistcha. That's the best we can hope for at this stage with our Trick Room on the field. No crits and no flinches. The Sinistcha is going to get the Magic Gotcha off, and I am certain that the critical hit there on our Rhyperior mattered a ton. I am certain that Rhyperior would have survived that without the critical hit. There's no way that Sinistcha just more than half of our HP with a spread Magic Gotcha while we still have our Rindelberry. So now our Weavile has to come in a really awkward spot with Trick Room still up. So best I can do is go for a Fake Out and Gardevoir, because otherwise it would outspeed us with the Trick Room still up. And I want to show the rest of this battle because the opponent just plays very strange the rest of this battle. They have a huge lead. They have a 4-2 lead at this point, and all we have is a Weavile that's not Focus Sash and an Oranguru with 32 HP, and they're actually going to give us a chance to win this battle, which is really remarkable. So right here, they decided, no, Trick Room ended, and now Weavile is the fastest thing on the field. They go for a Rage Powder. Why are you playing defensively with a 4-2 lead? They let us KO the Sinistcha just for nothing with our Weavile. We do get the crit with the Night Slash there, as you can see, and the Scope Lens is what actually allows us to have a chance to come back into this game. Now there, I had an opportunity to instruct my Weavile to go for Night Slash again into the Gardevoir to KO it, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference anyway. I could have played better with Instruct while using this team for sure. They go for Fake Out into the Oranguru. Like, bro, the Oranguru's not the threat here. The Weavile is the threat. Because your Gardevoir is still on the field at -2 special attack, our Weavile was able to survive a Hyper Voice. So on the next turn, we could KO the Gardevoir, and we are still in this game with the Incineroar at 30%. If we can get a crit with Night Slash, and then somehow beat the Garchomp with our Weavile, you're protecting Garchomp. Why? My Weavile's at 39 HP. Just click an attack and kill it. But we don't get the Night Slash crit into the Incineroar, so it's going to be able to take us out. But Moral of the story here, why are you playing defensively with the 4-2 lead? You nearly let me back into that game. If I KO'd your Incineroar with a crit Night Slash there, I definitely had a chance to win, although I would have had to land 3 triple axles into a rough skin Garchomp, so I don't know exactly how that interaction plays out. Anyway, as we break the half-hour mark of this video, I appreciate all of you who have stuck around to this point. Please remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe for more VGC comedy in the future. And please comment specifically on how you feel about the length, if you would prefer these videos to be a little shorter than half an hour, or if you're perfectly fine with where the video is at this point. So, we're going to slow this one down a little bit for the final battle of this video here. We got a Trick Room up with our Oranguru for our Rhyperior that's in the back. However, they decided to reverse the Trick Room after we took out their Sneasler. So now Weavile is still the fastest thing on the field because the dimensions have been returned to normal. They're going to bring in the Mega Starmie, which I certainly did not think was going to let it like eat up a Night Slash from the Weavile. So I targeted the Sinistcha. Now you can see it's snowing. They have Aurora Veil up. They set it up with their Alolan Ninetales in the back. So I had 2 chances to crit through the Aurora Veil on the Sinistcha, and I didn't get either crit. So the Sinistcha is still around, and it's going to get a burn on my Oranguru. As you're going to see, this Sinistcha is very, very annoying, and it's partially to do with why I have removed the audio from this battle and put some Piers music over top for you all. So, Starmie has Protect, but doesn't like to click it for whatever reason in this match, as it's going to click Protect now, when it definitely should have avoided taking a hit from my Weavile last turn. But anyways, so Trick Room went back up on my side, so I did go for a Rock Slide here. As you can see, they still have the Aurora Veil up, so we're having to count on our Rhyperior to do Instruct Rock Slide damage to this Sinistcha through Aurora Veil, which is not ideal, but we can still always get the flinches, right? We land both of the Rock Slides against their Sinistcha. It is going to survive, though, and it doesn't get flinched. Oranguru dodges, but the damage has kind of already been done because we ate up that burn. So we eat our Rindoberry. It doesn't do that much damage to us, but it burns us again. Matcha Gotcha, man. Like, it's not supposed to be burning that often. Like, it's already a spread move that recovers your own HP like Giga Drain, and you had to give it a burn chance too. Oh, very, very annoying. And as you can see, Aurora Veil wears off 1 turn too late for us, because now we have to count on a burned Rhyperior to win us this game. They have a 3-2 advantage, and basically I only have my Rhyperior left as 4 damage output. And honestly, I forgot that they had the Alolan Ninetales to pivot in, and I at this point in the battle, I was completely forgetting that they still had another Pokemon in the back. We actually end up missing it the first time, but it's only at 1 HP. We only need to hit the Rock Slide once to knock it out. I guess it would have been nice to hit the first one, because then the second Rock Slide against Sinistcha would have become single target damage. But because we ate up that burn, I don't think it would have helped us get the KO on this Sinistcha. The HP recovery it's getting from Matcha Gotcha and its own leftovers is coming in really clutch for it. But I wanted to now talk about some alternatives to run this specific Rhyperior Oranguru combo on your own team. Because you don't have to run Horn Drill on the Rhyperior, obviously. Instead of Horn Drill, you could run Swords Dance. You could also run Earthquake instead of High Horsepower, and have the Telepathy ability on Oranguru so that you can Earthquake safely. Although I thought having High Horsepower was important so that I wouldn't be completely walled by Aegislash with Wide Guard, because otherwise I couldn't do any damage to anything with wide guard, and I can at least hit Aegislash specifically with high horsepower. So Instruct Rockslide bailed us out there once again because it flinched to Starmie, and now there's only one turn of Trick Room left. They have Protect, but they don't go for Protect. Why do you not go for Protect to stall out the last turn of Trick Room? But also, I choked equally as much as they did because I could have just clicked Instruct and gone for high horsepower twice into the Starmie to knock it out. But instead, I failed to get the knockout with my Oranguru onto the Starmie with Psychic. But actually this burn is going to come in a little bit handy because it does just enough chip to bring us into Citrus range. And now we have one turn left to decide the battle outside of Trick Room. Let's see what happens. Yeah, thanks for that. That's definitely going in the video. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed us going out with a bang for the final battle of VGC Comedy Episode 1. Thank you once again for making it this far. I've put up the rental code for you guys if you want to give this team a shot. Now, personally, I would recommend just borrowing bits and pieces from this team, not the whole team itself. But like, if you wanted to use the Oranguru Rhyperior combination, for example, maybe you could switch up some of the moves, like run Swords Dance instead of Horn Drill. Find something different use for skill swap as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave a link to my Discord in the description, and on Discord I will include some exclusive replays using this team that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. I'll upload them as unlisted videos, and you can only see them if you're a member of the Discord. So if you want to see a little bit more of this team, check out the link to my Discord down below. And yeah, comment what you thought of the video, what maybe you would like to see differently, what kinds of teams you'd like to see in the future, and I hope to see you again for some more VGC Comedy.
I didn't notice Incineroar on the treadmill before.